Liberation enthusiasts marked the SABA Day amid calls on the government to expand the democratic space. My name is Edward Kabasa. We have a comprehensive bulletin lined up for you tonight. My sign language interpreter is Lucy Mora, but first, let us take a look at the highlights.
All learners in grade 1 to 4, standards 5 to 7, and Form 1 to 3 in 2020 will remain in the current classes in 2021. There shall be no KCPE for the year 2020.
We will open on next Tuesday, the 14th of July, 2020.
Learners to repeat class as schools are set to reopen in January 2021 and places of worship reopen for congregants from next week. Not giving up yet, Kirinyaga MC has moved to the High Court to challenge the Senate for saving Governor Anne Waiguru. And stop financial marginalization. Senators from arid areas fold formula for county budgetary allocation.
Once again, thank you very much for joining us for this edition of Channel One News Hour. You can interact with us throughout this live broadcast on Twitter and on Facebook. My Twitter handle is at Ed Kabasa. You can also tweet us at KBC Channel One. Schools will now reopen in January 2021, and learners will have to repeat their classes. The Ministry of Education says due to the impact of the coronavirus pandemic, the 2020 school calendar stands lost. KCPE and KCSE examinations have also been pushed forward to late 2021, according to Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha. The CS said the decision has been informed by the increasing cases of COVID-19 and the need to keep learners safe.
Following consultations with stakeholders in the education sector, comprising of top officials from the Ministry of Education, teachers' unions, private teachers, parents, health experts and the clergy, a decision has been made to reopen basic education in January 2021.
This is based on the assumption that the curve will have flattened, or we shall have known a little bit much more about this virus.
The parents of this country feel that school should reopen after the curve has flattened.
The principle of equity for all children, wherever they are in the Republic, in accessing of education is one of the greatest guiding factors.
Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha, who led the stakeholders in briefing the public on the way forward, says the minimum reopening conditions set by stakeholders to ensure the safety of learners and teachers have not been met.
Schools should only reopen when the daily percentage of confirmed COVID-19 cases have reduced consistently for at least 14 days, which we call in medical terms flattening of the curve.
The unmet conditions now forcing the government to shelve its initial proposal to have Class 8 and Form 4 learners resume in September 2020, which it says is no longer tenable.
There will be 2 Form 1 classes in 2021 academic year. The country will experience very severe equity challenges, which may be constitutional in nature, when only 2 basic education classes reopen and transition while all the other children lose the year.
Loopholes have also been foreseen in shortage of classrooms. Current Form 4 candidates are 752,836, while those in Class 8 total 1,191,326.
Which would mean then that even if we had the intention of using the space left by Form 4, we would be having a deficit of in excess of 438,000. Therefore, it shall be difficult, in fact not difficult, it will be impossible to achieve social distancing.
With the outstanding challenges, stakeholders resolved that all basic education learners in grade 1 to 4, standard 5 to 7, and Form 1 to Form 3 in 2020 will remain in the current classes in 2021.
There shall be no KCPE for the year 2020. Number 2, the 2020 Standard 8 and Form 4 cohorts will sit their examinations later in the year of 2021. And number 3, the school calendar of this year will be considered lost due to COVID-19.
This means current Standard 7 and Form 3 learners will not do the KCPE and KCSE next year. However, teacher training colleges and TVET institutions will be allowed to reopen from September 2020, subject to strict adherence to the MOH COVID-19 protocols. For universities, they will only be allowed to resume lectures after thorough inspection that they have met stipulated guidelines. Kamche Menza for Channel 1 News.
Places of worship will reopen their doors to congregants beginning Tuesday next week. The Interfaith Council that was mandated to come up with modalities on how religious institutions can reconvene says such places can have as many services as possible as long as they adhere to 100 congregants per service as stipulated in the guidelines.
The 22-member Interfaith Council has announced reopening of churches starting the 14th of this month. The Interfaith Council says reopening will be done in 4 phases depending on the situation of the infection trend and levels of compliance in congregation gatherings. The places of worship will be allowed to conduct more than one service but limited to maximum 100 persons per worship session.
It is a kind of a pilot to the major phase that will enter within those 3 to 4 weeks, which the Interfaith Council will review as we go ahead.
Congregants must wear masks and observe 1.5 meters social distancing. Duration of worship session should be 60 minutes on the maximum. Thermoguns will be deployed to detect those who may have indicators of illness.
This is self-regulation. We must embrace that, show our discipline, and each congregation will actually find a good formula. Each church or each mosque or each faith will have a formula that is adapted to their circumstances.
The directive, as per the president, will be enforced, and children below the age of 13 years and those above 58 years will not be admitted for services.
They are more vulnerable to catch the infection, and so we really are safeguarding and protecting their lives. So it isn't a prohibition, it is a way of telling them for the time being it doesn't seem safe in the circumstances that we are in.
Irene Nchuma Udin, Channel 1.
Let's talk about the numbers now, where the Ministry of Health is warning Kenyans that each of them is individually responsible for their own protection against the coronavirus infection. Health Cabinet Secretary Mutai Kagwe said that whereas cessation of movement has been eased, those still expecting police to enforce containment measures are courting disaster, while announcing another 183 new infections that push the country's coronavirus tally to 8,250. Kagwe further said the government can no longer assure its preparedness capacity which is expected with the virus infection expected to surge in August and September. Purity Michelle reports.
Since yesterday, let it be clear that the torch of responsibility as to whether you are safe or not safe has been passed to you, has been passed to the church, has been passed to the office, has been passed to the county government, has been passed to Kenyans in general.
Sentiments by Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe that underpinned the fact that the war against COVID-19 pandemic is largely an individual's responsibility. Health CS calling on Kenyans to exercise personal duty and adhere to guidelines on COVID-19 disease prevention.
With the easing of restrictions, we can no longer look up to the police to enforce adherence of containment measures. Any slight imagination of this is a recipe for disaster, because it is not realistically possible to deploy a police officer for every Kenyan.
The CS further took a swipe at counties lagging behind on their preparedness, saying there will be no transferring of their patients to national hospitals should their health facilities become overwhelmed.
There will be no lifting of people from counties to Nairobi. In a little while, as we see the progress in hospitals today, there will be no capacity for you to to be brought to Nairobi.
With the numbers and also opening of or lifting of the restriction movement, if we don't exercise that responsibility and we seed infections at the county level, then the peak could even come earlier, which will not be good for us, because in that case, there's a risk that our healthcare system will be overwhelmed.
The country has in the last 24 hours recorded 183 new positive cases of COVID-19, taking the total number of infections to 8,250.
From those positive cases, 177 people are Kenyans, while 6 are foreigners, and in terms of gender spread, 119 are male, while 64 are female.
CS Kagwe also revealed that 90 patients were discharged from various health facilities, raising the number of recoveries to 2,504. However, the tally of fatalities hit 167 after 3 more patients succumbed to the novel coronavirus. Kagwe also decried the rising cases of mental health-related issues, such as depression and suicide in the country as a result of the pandemic.
People are so afraid and shy of indicating that they are human beings who suffer from, say, depression or schizophrenia or PTSD, that they would rather stay with their illnesses at home rather than expose themselves to the shame of confirming that they are humans and suffer from mental illnesses. And therefore,
while the Ministry of Health insists it is a personal responsibility to protect themselves and their loved ones from coronavirus, it has revealed that protocols on the movement in and out of counties previously under lockdown restrictions may be imposed this week. Purity Museo, Channel 1 News, Nairobi.
And with that, we take a very short break. Don't go anywhere. Channel 1 News Hour continues shortly.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola. Taste the simple joys.
Next on.
Ngoja niulize jamaa, nani hapa hivi amepimwa hivi majuzi? Pale kwa Mwangi, si ni 10 bob. Sijasema kupimwa weight. Saa hizi kupimwa HIV ni haraka na ni bure.
Masudi, mimi mfuko wangu hautoshei hela ndogo ndogo kama hizi. Yaani ukiniangalia hivi nafaa kubeba hela ndogo ndogo kama hizi. Keep change.
Uko na HIV si eti ni mwisho. Wewe uko nayo? Mimi nilishapima.
Afya bora, maisha bora. Jipime, jiinue.
Je, ungependa kujua jinsi ninavyojizuia kuambukizwa au kuambukizana virusi vya korona? Ni rahisi. Mwanzo, ninaziendesha shughuli zangu zote za kikazi na hata za kibiashara kutoka papa hapa nyumbani kwangu. Baadaye, ninaitunza mwili wangu vyema kwa kuiweka katika hali iliyo sawa kupitia mazoezi ya mara kwa mara na pia lishe bora. Mwishowe, ninaungana na jamii yangu pamoja na marafiki zangu kupitia njia ya simu au mtandao ili kuzuia dhiki na upweke wakati huu mgumu. Kumbuka, haijalishi kama uko na virusi vya korona au la, salia nyumbani. Uokoe maisha.
Thank you very much for keeping us company. This is Channel One News Hour. Deputy President William Ruto has called on Kenyans to adhere to the laid down guidelines to prevent the spread of the deadly COVID-19 disease. Speaking after hosting a team of the clergy from Nyeri at his Karen residence led by Bishop William Githinji of the Victor's Chapel, Ruto said the phased reopening of places of worship as announced by President Uhuru Kenyatta is a cautious move that now places the responsibility of confronting the coronavirus pandemic on individuals.
Mheshimiwa Rais alitangaza ile mipango na taratibu imewekwa kufunguliwa kwa nchi kwa mambo ya uchumi, kanisani, mambo ya shule. Lakini ni vizuri tuelewe vile Rais alisema ya kwamba tutafaulu sio kwa uwezo wa wale wanaoshughulikia mambo ya amani Kenya, na ni ya muhimu, sio kwa ujuzi wa madaktari na wauguzi wetu na mipango ile tumeweka, na hiyo pia ni muhimu, lakini ni kwa mambo yale tutafaulu, kwa mambo yale kila Mkenya atafanya. Pengine ni madogo, kuhakikisha kwamba umeosha mikono, umesanitize, tumeweka social na physical distance, na tumefuata taratibu ambazo ni rahisi ambayo imetolewa na Wizara ya Afya. Hiyo ndio itatufanya tufaulu kama Wakenya kwa ile changamoto tuko nayo.
To the corridors of justice now, where the Kirinyaga County Assembly has moved to the High Court to challenge the Senate decision to acquit Governor Anne Mumbi Waiguru. Through its lawyer, Ndegwa Njiru, the Assembly wants the High Court to quash the report of the Senate dated June 26, 2020, which dismissed the County Assembly resolution to impeach Waiguru.
Kirinyaga County Assembly impeached Governor Anne Mumbi Waiguru on June 9, 2020, accusing her of, among others, abuse of office and gross violation of the law. However, 2 weeks later, she was acquitted by the Senate. Now members of the County Assembly have revived their push to oust the governor by seeking intervention from the courts. Through their lawyer, Ndegwa Njiru, the MCAs have filed a case at the High Court in Kerugoya seeking nullification of the Senate decision, arguing it is in total disregard of the Constitution and the laws. Njiru further said they will petition the High Court to compel the Senate to reconvene and reconsider the impeachment solution. According to Njiru, the County Assembly will also petition Chief Justice David Maraga to constitute a 3-judge bench to hear the matter.
We want the court to interrogate the entire process of how the Senate dealt with this case. Because we have looked at the report, we have actually annexed it here, and does not represent the actual position of what transpired in the Senate. The Senate actually ignored all our evidence. Then they further told us that you have not brought sufficient evidence. What other evidence do they want?
And 2 male rugby players who had been sentenced to 15 years imprisonment for rape have been released on a 300,000 shillings cash bail after denying fresh rape charges. Magistrate Zainab Abdul, while granting Alex Olaba and Frank Wanyama bail, noted that the court was not bound by the previous proceedings, but noted the 2 faced serious charges and warned them against interfering with witnesses or the case.
The charges herein are very serious. However, it is the accused person's right to be released on bail or bond if there are no compelling reasons advanced by the prosecution to warrant the denial. Setting of bail terms is a judicial discretion.
Olaba and Wanyama have been behind bars for the last 10 months after they were handed a 15-year jail term in August 2019. Last Wednesday, Justice Ngenye Macharia of the High Court ordered for a retrial after dismissing the evidence of one witness on a technicality.
Each accused person may be released on a bond of 500,000 with a surety of similar amount, or in the alternative, a cash bail of 300,000. Number 2, the accused persons are directed not to interfere with the witnesses.
The former Kenya Harlequin Rugby Club players were accused of gang raping a musician at Sifa Apartments in High-Rise, Nairobi on February 11th last year. The case will be mentioned on July 21st, 2020. For Channel 1 News, I'm Ben Troenjwe.
Senators drawn from arid and semi-arid counties have vowed to shoot down the proposed revenue sharing formula among the 47 counties. The lawmakers argue the implementation of the formula will result in significant disparities in allocation of revenue to counties. The senators also took issue with the proposal by the Finance and Budget Committee to reduce budgetary allocations for urban services in Nairobi and Mombasa counties from 5% to 4%.
A showdown is looming in the Senate over the sharing of the 316 billion shillings among the 47 county governments. 19 senators drawn from arid and semi-arid regions are alleging a scheme to financially marginalize frontier counties.
Wale ambao wanafaa kupatiwa wapatiwe, lakini haki yetu hatuwezi kubali haki yetu kuchukuliwa kama sisi iko hai.
The conversation we are having here is as though these formulas are coming from outer space. You know, these formulas are done by people. People can sit down and work out formulas that ensure, at the very minimum, no county loses a single cent.
The lawmakers accuse some of their colleagues of attempting to subvert the law to unfairly increase budgetary allocation to some counties at the expense of other devolved units.
The other day in a meeting, somebody asked, what did Turkana do with the money all the years? I want to ask, what did Kiambu do with the money since the independence? All the money has been pumped there.
What the framers of this mythical Linturi formula are doing is that they are denying us pastoralists. They are denying the people of Nairobi and the people of Mombasa money. We use different parameters. They have reduced the parameter of urban to 4%, which means they deny the people of Nairobi and the people of Mombasa money.
According to the aggrieved senators, the contentious formula is an improvement on the one proposed by the Commission on Revenue Allocation that emphasizes key parameters of distribution as health 20%, population 17%, agriculture 12%, and poverty 15%.
Our position is, instead of going by the new formula, we better retain the old formula where we are all equal in this scenario.
If adopted, some of the biggest losers will be Mandera County, with an expected reduction of 2 billion shillings, Wajir County 1.4 billion, while Kwale and Kilifi would lose 1.2 and 1.1 billion shillings respectively. The lawmakers argue that Article 217 of the Constitution mandates the Senate to determine the basis for equitable sharing of revenue among county governments. They, however, expressed concern of a well-orchestrated plan to irregularly force through the contentious formula, arguing that marginalized counties will continue to be financially starved.
And in other matters, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, is set to expedite investigations into cases of extrajudicial killings after receiving state-of-the-art forensic laboratory equipment from the United States government. IPOA Vice Chairperson Jonathan Ladompoi says the new equipment will aid in fast-tracking investigations into pending cases of extrajudicial killings in the country. This is coming as the chairperson of the National Assembly's Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security, Paul Koinange, issued a stern warning to police officers found guilty of human rights violation.
Often cases of extrajudicial killings presented in court fall short at the prosecution stage. Many times the reason cited is inconclusive investigations by the detectives. In a move to tighten the loose ends, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, says it has acquired sophisticated forensic laboratory equipment that will enable detectives uncover crucial evidence.
The gadgets that we have launched today will definitely unearth specific issues on gray areas, on where evidence was not coming forth. So this is a matter of time, and as we are launching these centers, we are able to really understand the aspects of the police brutality.
The forensic lab equipment donated by the United States government will be used to detect, collect and process samples and evidence for further evaluation and determination.
This is the best way to go. As a matter of fact, people have been asking from time to time, how many cases has IPOA handled? But I believe now, with the new system they have here, they'll be able to handle very many cases.
In the wake of growing concerns over the increased cases of extrajudicial killings and police brutality in the country, the oversight body has launched a call center where members of the public can lodge complaints against the police by calling the toll-free number 1559.
The number is 1559. You can call us anytime, 24 hours, and we will get back to you for purposes of lodging any complaint or even complimenting a police officer that you think is doing the right thing.
We're also giving warning to the police officers who are within the police service, and they are doing those things they are doing, harassing wananchi and doing things they are not supposed to do. I'm sure with what we have now, IPOA will be able to address those issues. So I think anybody who wants to harass the wananchi or do the funny things they do behind the law, they should be ready to face the new IPOA.
Over the last 15 months, IPOA has documented 210 cases of extrajudicial killings, and out of these, 110 have been investigated conclusively. Over the same period, the authority says 6 convictions have been recorded, with 3 suspects being sentenced to death. Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
Let's talk about SABA now, where a lobby group calling itself the Movement for Democracy and Growth is accusing Parliament of allegedly perpetuating corruption. The group that had converged in Limuru in commemoration of the then constitutional reform protest of 7th July claimed the August House is under capture by corrupt elements furthering their personal agendas and making reforms near impossible.
The group led by Ugenya Member of Parliament David Ochieng claimed committees in Parliament have been turned into avenues of profiteers, deal makers and business cartels.
Ensure a free and fair elections in 2022 and to banish election rigging from this land for good. We are sick and tired of illegal establishment of government through the rigging of elections in Kenya. We are setting out to ensure that we will have free, fair and credible election in 2022. Above all, we will oppose and resist any attempt to extend by subterfuge or other means the tenure of those who will be barred by the Constitution from seeking any further term, both at the national and the county levels.
To bolster his allegation, Ochieng sensationally cited the Health Committee, where he is a member, claiming it wants to investigate graft allegations at KEMSA, as 9 members of the committee were directly doing business with the medical body. The group, in its departure from BBI, claimed there was no need of amending the 2010 Constitution and that it should be implemented to the letter.
With solemn commitment, we met at the Limuru Conference Center for the 4th time to renew our commitment to the democratic transformation of our nation and to honor those who have preceded us in this endeavor. This occasion takes place against the backdrop of deeply disturbing developments: the emasculation of Parliament, harassment and intimidation of the judiciary, defiance of the courts, usurpation of county government of the county government of Nairobi.
For them, the clamor for BBI is tailored to suit a small group of people fixated on the 2022 politics. They claim the current situation is being violated and Kenyans being denied justice and equality. Elsewhere, George Gashugu, Kenneth Matiba's first cousin, narrated how they were roughed up, arrested, and together with his wife, among others, were detained at Kingongo prison, where they were tortured during the SABA demonstrations.
Tunafurahia multi-party sana, watu wote wa Kenya, lakini sijui kama watu hii wandogo wa youth sijui kama wanajua hivyo. Wale walikuja nyuma, wale wako nyuma sijui kama wanajua, lakini wale wa zamani wanafurahia sana multi-party kwa sababu hakuna matata, hakuna kifo, hakuna nini, mambo yote ni swali.
As I focus back to that day, which was 7/7, which is today, I remember it with grief, remembering how our heroes were disturbed were harassed, seeking for our freedom. And I'm happy today because we already achieved that goal.
Gashogo claimed that last Kenyans are reaping fruits of the second liberation. For Channel 1 News, I'm Ben Troinjwe.
Police in Narok County have rescued a 14-year-old girl who had been abducted and forced to cohabit with an older man as a husband and wife, according to Narok Central Assistant Deputy County Commissioner Abdul Galgalo Dimba. 5 suspects are in custody as investigations continue.
Police in Narok County are holding 5 suspects who are celebrating after one of them allegedly married a 14-year-old girl. Narok Central Assistant Deputy County Commissioner Abdul Galagala said the suspects were arrested following a tip-off from members of the public. Elsewhere, police in Likuyani Sub-County have arrested a high school teacher suspected to be the mastermind of motor vehicle thefts in South and North Rift regions.
So anybody ambaye watu wanasuspect ya kwamba anaweza kuwa anahusika na mambo fulani, ni vizuri kupasha polisi habari, tuweze kufuatilia, ndio tuweze kuruti watu wachafu kutoka community.
The Embassy of Iran in Kenya has organized a virtual cartoon festival competition in Africa on COVID-19. The Iranian ambassador to Kenya, Jafar Barmaki, says the competition targets those in quarantine by giving them an opportunity to share their artistic messages on how to combat COVID-19.
While, we are facing with fragile health system in Africa, so we have to use whatever tools we have at hand to send the messages to the people, so to take care of themselves and their families.
Elsewhere, sugarcane farmers and farm workers have faulted politicians from Western Kenya region for criticizing the reform's sugar sector. And a section of teachers in Nyamira County have resolved to donate part of their salaries to assist colleagues hardest hit by the COVID-19 pandemic.
As much as we're not part of the government and we should be expecting salaries from the government, I wish as a family, because as teachers we are part of them, they would at least have something for us.
Laikipia members of county assembly have pledged to work with the county government to deliver better services to residents of the region.
Let us appreciate the independence of the arms, but at the same time work together in a coordinated manner to make sure that we are able to help and uplift the lives of the Laikipians.
And the government has lauded youth who are using innovation to complement ongoing efforts to curb the spread of COVID-19 in the country.
When a ventilator in the market goes for 2.7 million, here we have our own locally produced one by our own young people here at Kenyatta University, going for around 800, 700. So that's quite an achievement.
Finally, long-haul bus operators based in Mombasa City have welcomed the decision by the government to allow them back on the road, but say they could be forced to hike fares between destinations.
Nauli watu abiria ambao watakuwa kibebwa sasa ni abiria 30. Na nauli tumeweka kwa shilingi 2,000, hatutaki kuumiza raia sana.
Let's now cross our borders, where Burundi has launched a fresh mass testing campaign for coronavirus to fight the spread of the pandemic. Newly elected President Evariste Ndayishimiye declared coronavirus a major enemy of Burundi and vowed to start a fight against the pandemic. Elsewhere, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been accused of trying to shift the blame for coronavirus deaths onto care homes.
At the launch of the campaign in Bujumbura, many people were unusually seen wearing masks. A record 6 tests were taken on the day, the highest number since March when the virus was reported in the country. Since the new president took office on 18 June, more than 1,900 tests have been taken compared with only 1,200 taken before. Burundi has so far reported 191 cases from 3,200 tests done in the past 3 months. Elsewhere, coronavirus cases in South Africa have passed the 200,000 mark. Health Minister Zweli Mohize said 4 provinces were at risk of a surge, adding that a lockdown for the provinces was a possibility. South Africa is in the process of easing restrictions in phases, with the latest being the reopening of schools for more students this week. In the meantime, health workers battling the coronavirus pandemic in the Democratic Republic of Congo's capital, Kinshasa, say they will stay on strike until they get paid. According to the health workers, they last received their salary more than 3 months ago. Most of the DR Congo's 7,500 registered infections are in the capital. And with flights set to resume, Nigeria has barred aids of politicians and other prominent personalities from airport terminals unless they are traveling. Aviation Minister Hadi Sirika says the move is part of measures to contain the spread of the coronavirus by reducing the number of people at the airports. Meanwhile, United Kingdom Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been accused of trying to shift the blame for coronavirus deaths onto care homes after he made remarks on Monday that too many care homes didn't really follow the procedures. His words sparked fury in the care home sector, with only charity boards calling them clumsy and cowardly. Finally, 3/4 of people at 78% report no symptoms by the time they test positive for coronavirus. This is according to data released Tuesday by the United Kingdom's Office for National Statistics. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Timothy Kipnoso.
We are taking another break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll be here with the day's business.
My friend, yani wewe unajua kutime sana unangoja wakati tu nimekaa kwa nyumba peke yangu pole pole, nimenaosha mkono nikule nyama yangu, saizi ndio unanipigia simu. Ulikuwa wapi wakati nilikuwa kwa duka huko naenda kutafuta unga nikuje nipike ugali?
Kupata unajua kutime sana, bonyeza star 811 star 815 hash. Bonyeza star 811 star 815 hash.
Utafanya hivi, itabidi hata wewe umengoja.
Embakasi Utawala tuko locked. Ungem Utanyahururu Kasuku Massive,
Jeshi ya Nyeri Coast Maua na Kura kwa locked mbaya.
Kigumo Ward na ambao wote wako ndani ya KBC Channel 1.
Akulaliki Wednesday bila the ref.
Mbotela Auta Idara Kitengela,
Kiambu County 33 Pipeline Meru anawakilisha.
Rongai Maboxa pale go down. Karatina Auta Mlolongo wana enjoy show. Lare Sub County Auta Githurai 45 Lanet Barracks tuko ndani yake. Okongo Auta Carnation Maragwa Seti Nairobi.
Fika wako locked mbaya sana.
Watu wangu wa Nakuru Ngwaro
Auta Gilgil live kutoka Mazeras Bahati Massive, Embo Thika Massive, Siaya Shikambi Kakamega Bungoma County,
Kusia Boda
Kisumu City,
Malindi yote iko ndani ya the ref.
When I'm in Kenya, I tune in to the rave. Get your mind brave, focus, conscious.
Kenya,
East Africa.
Right.
Keep it locked.
On the next episode.
This is not my son's signature!
Of course it is, madam. If not, Mr. Pedro would have said something to me.
I'm telling you, the signature has been forged! This policy is not valid! I am sure of it.
How can you possibly think of me that way? Just think about how I feel after being with you for so long to be accused of something like that.
You are great at pretending, Juana. What in heaven's name are you doing back in this house?
Mrs. Hortensia, please listen. I can't explain.
I don't need any explanations from you. My lawyer and I have discovered your little fraud.
What fraud is that?
Don't play innocent, because my son's signature on the policy was forged.
In Love with Ramon.
Welcome back. President Uhuru Kenyatta says completion rate of projects and programs will be adopted as key performance indicator for all cabinet secretary, chief administrative secretaries and principal secretaries. President Kenyatta made the remarks in a virtual meeting with senior ranks of the executive, where he said implementation and completion of ongoing priority projects and programs set out in his administration's transformative agenda, will be the focus for the 2020-2021 financial year.
The government is now focusing on completion of the development projects during the year 2020-2021. The President, while addressing Cabinet Secretaries, Chief Administrative Secretaries and Principal Secretaries, outlined government development priorities for the year 2020-2021, which kicked off this month. As a measure of accountability, the President said that completion of projects will be a performance indicator for the cabinet members. He called for collective responsibility in the implementation of government projects and programs through the involvement of entire ministerial establishments so as to ensure timely delivery of quality outcomes. The head of state said these programs must be strictly implemented within set timelines and budget, adding that his earlier directive that no new projects will be initiated except with his express authority still stands. President Kenyatta acknowledged the current difficult economic environment occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic and reminded government departments to settle pending bills as a key priority. In support of local industries, the President said the government must walk the talk of Buy Kenya, Build Kenya agenda and directed all ministries, state departments and state agencies to give preferential procurement to Kenyan-made goods and services. Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
Housing Principal Secretary Charles Hinga attributes delay in completion of the affordable housing project to high construction costs that has seen investors shy away from the sector. While acknowledging that the project is behind schedule, Hinga said construction of more houses will start in earnest later this year.
The government had projected that it would set aside 1.2 trillion shillings to construct 500,000 housing units under the affordable housing project. However, with the deadline for completion of the project fast approaching, Housing Principal Secretary Charles Hinga acknowledges that the target is likely to be missed due to challenges in getting in place the necessary supporting infrastructure and high cost of construction.
Most of you know that our housing market and our housing sector was a broken. We've been operating from a broken system, so it's very, very important to understand that what we are fixing here is a systemic problem, and it's systemic issues on just the issue of land that we've had to address. The others is the cost of construction. Our cost of construction is very, very, very high.
Hinga says the government has approved construction of 130,000 housing units between this month and December this year. This in addition to a 500 billion shillings housing project to be undertaken on a 4,300 piece of land by the East African Portland Cement.
We also have 4,300 acres of land which was set aside by Kenyan government for what is going to be an iconic new city in Portland. The tender closed on Thursday last week, and I'm glad to report that we have got 7 very strong investors that are coming on board.
To fast-track the project, developers are being encouraged to tap into green bonds. Hinga called on developers to adhere to the set environmental standards. Benson Rioba reporting for Channel 1 Business.
And still on matters housing, 128,000 units are set for completion in the Ndigwa area, Kiambu County, by Krishna Group. The local developer broke the ground 20 months ago in a project that has created over 800 jobs.
Final touches on the housing project that was commissioned in November 2018. The developer says the 128 units will be ready within 8 weeks. Krishna Group officials say they have tried to minimize staff layoffs due to the disruption by coronavirus.
During this pandemic, we have reduced a bit of the workforce, which is only natural for most people, but nonetheless, we have tried to retain as many as possible and trying to make all the safety features and precautions that we are taking place. Nonetheless, we have ongoing effort sites, so we're employing about close to 700-800 people at the moment and trying to support them. And then, of course, they in turn will support their families and they will support other economies.
The building that could be Thindigwa's tallest has modern features and is expected to serve the growing need of residential-focused housing and narrow the housing deficit in the country.
So this is my 3 towers that we are doing, 2-bedroom. These are the 2-bedroom towers. As you can see from here, we are almost getting to the finishes touches.
This is among projects worth 1.5 billion shillings spread across the country that Krishna Group has invested in. Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
A women's group in Naivasha, Nakuru County, has started a livestock feed-making venture to lower the cost of poultry production, according to Kayole Smart Poultry Feeds Association Secretary Jade Wanjiru. The venture has seen them sell the surplus in Naivasha and its environs, earning them extra income.
As Naivasha town continues to take a hit due to reduced activities in the horticulture and hospitality industries, occasioned by negative effects of COVID-19 pandemic, a group of women are making a killing from animal feed making venture. The group dubbed Kayole Smart Feed Association is making animal feeds from unique formula from locally available crops like soybeans and wheat. The group started producing its own feed after incurring heavy losses in their poultry venture, as 70% of the total cost went in purchasing chicken
We had
feed.
so many problems ya chakula. Chakula kuna companies mingi zenye zinatengeneza chakula. Bei imekuwa gari sana.
They say they save up to 50% of every 70 kilo bag of chicken feed.
It was the greatest problem. It was mixing food ama kupata chakula ya kuku. Sasa kulingana na hizo vitu ambazo tumepatiwa, at least tumejua prices, tumejua iko chini sana sana.
70 kilometers away in Kuresoi South, members of Tamiota Dairy Farmers Union are also being trained on how to make cattle feed blocks from various types of grass.
Kuinua mifugo wetu, mazao yetu ya maziwa itawafikia hata tauni kubwa.
The farmers have also received high-yielding grass seeds from the government, with chicken farmers receiving 530,000 shilling grant to invest in their venture.
Katika kikundi hii wamenunuliwa mbegu, aina za mbegu ambayo tuna Desmodium, Tucson, Bracharia, Sorghum na Rhodes na Boma Rhodes, ili kuongeza kiwango ya utoaji wa maziwa kutoka kwa ng'ombe wao.
The two groups want the government to streamline feeding testing equipment to fast-track certification of animal feed, even as they target markets beyond Nakuru County. Benson Dioba reporting for Channel 1 Business.
And further afield, Germany is launching fast-track COVID-19 testing in some airports for international travelers in order to ensure entry quarantine while helping recover airline business and tourism industry. The COVID-19 test, which is done by appointment only to avoid people waiting, with on-site laboratory releasing the results in 3 to 4 hours. Here are the details of this and other stories from across the globe. The German citizens returning home have the option of either quarantining for 2 weeks or take the COVID-19 test at the airport. The test, which is done by appointment only to avoid people waiting, costs €190, with an on-site laboratory releasing the results in 3 to 4 hours. The test not only allows for passengers to satisfy Germany's entry restrictions, but also entry requirements abroad. Tests are now being offered at both Frankfurt and Munich airports in an effort to re-stimulate the travel industry, which has suffered a substantial blow over the last 5 months. Germany has lifted travel restriction to several EU countries and 15 non-EU states based on the number of COVID-19 cases over the last 14 days. Meanwhile, India has reopened nearly 3,700 tourist sites that were closed 3 months ago due to the COVID-19 pandemic, despite that the country's number of confirmed cases is approaching 700,000. The most popular attraction, the Taj Mahal, however, remained closed due to the severe epidemic situation in Agra city. Indian authorities have asked tourists to maintain social distancing during their visits and buy tickets online in advance to avoid gathering at the ticket office. The tourism and service sector contributes to about 5% of India's GDP and absorbs about 12.75% of the country's workforce. Finally, the Louvre, one of the most visited museums in the world, has reopened to the public after it was shut down for nearly 4 months amid COVID-19 pandemic. Visitors to the edifice, located in France's capital Paris, are required to book tickets and reservation slots online. Mask wearing is compulsory for visitors aged 11 and above. Signs reminding visitors of the 1 meter social distance requirement are set up at the entrance of the museum and in front of Mona Lisa, the world's most famous portrait by Leonardo da Vinci. The museum welcomed about 7,400 visitors on the opening day. Most of them are from France and other European countries. After reopening, it is estimated to welcome 4,000 to 10,000 visitors per day, only 20 to 30% of last summer's number. Time for sports. Garissa County Athletics Kenya Association Chairperson Abdullahi Salat says the harsh climatic conditions in the region, coupled with lack of facilities, has posed a challenge to the growth of athletics in the region. Abdullahi believes that the region is capable of attracting potential investors if steps to improve the sport, including building of facilities, is taken. Athletics in the country, or athletes in the country, are forced to train on a gravel field track at the Northeastern National Polytechnic.
The region has got a lot of problems. One, lack of funding. Two, there's the issue of the climate. It's a hot area. Training becomes difficult because the sun comes very early in the morning. The temperature is 37, 36. The infrastructure is not there. As you can see today, this is the only field we have in this place, and you're seeing how it is looking. First, we need to have more training of coaches, more facilities, and then one way or the other to encourage the athletics to take sport seriously, ensure the infrastructure are there.
Former director of the Birmingham City FC Academy in England, Stuart Hall, has parted ways with Kenya Premier League side Wazito FC on mutual consent. Hall joined the club last November. Wazito finished 13th on the Kenya Premier League table in the just concluded campaign.
Stuart Hall's departure marks another exit in Wazito's long line of coaches. Fred Ambani was relieved of his duties in October 2019 after helping the Nairobi-based club to earn promotion. Ambani's place was taken by Melis Mendo, who was subsequently sacked after just 3 matches at the helm. Ambani has so far returned to the club and served as Hall's assistant. Hall has managed 3 Kenyan football clubs, including Sofapaka in 2012 and FC Leopards in 2016-2017 season. The club's management will announce its new set of technical bench members in the near future. Frederick Moki for Channel 1 Sports.
NZOIA Sugar Football Club management has hailed President Uhuru Kenyatta for flagging off the bus meant for the Eastern-based club. President Uhuru handed over the brand new 52-seater bus to NZOIA Sugar Company Chairman Joshua Mangoli after donating the bus to the club in order to help them in their sports engagements. The team had accumulated 13 points after 22 matches in the Kenya Premier League before the coronavirus pandemic disrupted sporting activities worldwide.
Sukari wataanza kutafuta sukari. Asante baba. Kenya, Mheshimiwa Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, kwanza kukubali, wacha kusema kukubali sisi twende huko, si rahisi. People have been calling me, they want to find a formula of how to go to State House or Harambee. They are calling me every day. They think there's a miracle. However, I don't want some people to trivialize the issue of going to see the president. First, he gave this young man 2 million shillings on that day. Cash. But when you talk about that, which have just gone the bus is only a show of things that are going to happen.
Basi hii ambayo yuko mbele yetu iligharimu milioni 6.25. Kwa hizo pesa hizo zote sisi tulitoa milioni 2 peke yake. Kwa hivyo tunashukuru Waziri Eugene na wenzake kwa kuchangisha zaidi ya milioni 3.5 ndiposa watusaidie kufikisha hii basi hapa. Tunashukuru mwenye nchi, His Excellency the President, kwa kukubali kuflag off hii basi ilipotoka Nairobi na akatumia bendera ya taifa, kwa sababu pia mimi am a son of this soil, hatutaogopa sana.
Kwa nasema ni asante sana kwa sababu mimi napenda mpira. Ingawa sikucheza, lakini hata wapi tulikuwa tunaenda, nilichua Mombasa kwa ajili ya mpira, nikachua Meru kwa ajili ya mpira. Na saa hii sasa niko na chua ya kwamba hata kama nimewacha kampuni, lakini huko nje nitakuwa tu mashabiki.
Na ni kweli imefika nyumbani, na tunawashukuru sana wadhamini wetu na wale wote ambao wamehusika.
That does it for us for this edition of Channel One News Hour. We do thank you very much for keeping us company. My name is Edward Kabasa. Our sign language interpreter has been Lucy Mwaura. You can stay up to date with breaking news on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. Coming up next, it's the weather forecast with Irene Muchuma Odim.
Many thanks, Kabasa. Good evening, everyone, from wherever you are. This is Channel 1 Weather Updates. A very warm welcome. My name is Irene Mchuma Odim. It is one of those nights that the capital and most parts of the country will experience scattered clouds. This as the Lake Basin region experience showers accompanied by thunderstorms over a few places, similarly to the western parts of the country. Wednesday, we will wake up to a cloudy and sunny morning. A few changes from what we experienced today in the capital. Equally in Meru and Nyeri, there will be showers in Mombasa and Malindi. Sunny conditions will prevail over the northeastern parts of the country, and equally to the southeastern lowlands. It will be raining in Eldoret, Kericho and Kakamega, also a few areas over the northwestern parts of the country. In the afternoon, we're expecting changes to come in, and in particular over the western parts of the country, we'll be seeing an increase of showers accompanied by thunderstorms over several places. Equally to the northwestern parts of the country, the coastal strip will also experience wet conditions, and that will be in Mombasa, Malindi and Lamu. The northeastern parts of the country will continue to experience sunny conditions equally to the southeastern lowlands. Temperatures in Lodwar have slightly gone down. We're expecting maximum of 33 degrees Celsius. The highest temperatures across the country will be experienced in Mandera at 35 degrees Celsius, and for you in the capital, expect maximum of 24 and lows of 13 degrees Celsius. Those are our expectations here in the home country. Let's now cross the borders and see how it will be in other parts of the world. Do have a good night and see you tomorrow. God
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 227428 Thika branch, 0725 000 706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
Na wasalimu wa Kenya wenzangu katika jina la Kristo Yesu. Kwa majina naitwa Reverend Steve Onyango wa kanisa la Cathedral Praise Ministry. Tuko along Juja Road opposite Moi Airbase Gate. Na ningependa tukaweze kupata nafasi na kuombea taifa letu kulingana na kile ambao kinaendelea wakati kama huu mgumu kwetu kama taifa. Na kabla niombe, ningependa nikaweze kushiriki nanyi neno kwa dakika fupi, kisha baadaye tutaweza kuomba pamoja. Na ningependa nisome neno katika kitabu cha Esther chapter 4 kuanzia mstari wa 15, na nitasoma kwa utukufu wa Mungu. Maandiko yanasema ya kwamba, then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai: Go gather together all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. And I and my tenants will fast as you do. Then this is done. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish. Wakenya, ni wakati mgumu kwetu, tunaona jinsi ambavyo hali inavyoendelea kuwa, but sisi ambayo